Arizona Republican Senator John McCain, chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, member of the Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committees. Senator, I was thinking earlier today, the war you fought in was considered so asymmetrical for its times. The way the United States arrived in Vietnam, the length of time it took us to change to fit the fight. And yet, this is the most asymmetrical battle we have ever been faced with. The attacks are spectacular and gruesome. The good guys win, but often in the dark of night, and it's often thanks to drones. Have you any doubt that we're in a kind of slow-rolling world war?
I have no doubt about it, and I think, as you mentioned, it's vastly asymmetrical. I understand that the attacks in Paris cost something like $10,000, but I also would compare it to Vietnam, that for years we incrementally increased our effort there, which turned out to be a losing idea. We are incrementally increasing our presence in Iraq and in Syria, and it's not that we're doing nothing, but it's nothing that we have done has had any measurable effect. And I agree with everything Mr. Leiter said. But the problem is, Brian, that there is a geographic base for this terrorist organization. It's called Raqqa. And they are training, they're equipping. There's even news reports that they have a chemical weapons factory there in Raqqa. And until we have a strategy to go in and take them out and kill them, they're going to be exporting these attacks and these people, particularly in the flow of refugees, and they will be, unfortunately, there will be further acts of terror in Europe and in the United States of America, because this president has no strategy to defeat ISIS. And ISIS is a product not of a tsunami or a hurricane, but because of a failed foreign policy that pulled all of our troops out of Iraq. Al-Qaeda metastasized into ISIS, and we did not go after them, and the beat goes on, and now we are faced with the dimensions of a strategy, of a threat that we are going to be with for a long time.
I don't know if it's Curtis LeMay who gets credit for the term carpet bombing, but let's say we carpet bombed Raqqa, an idea that's picking up some currency. It is said you can't carpet bomb an idea out of existence, but what do you do about these cells? What do you do about the fact that these people are living in Belgium?
Well, first of all, I would not carpet bomb. That just would not be workable and would, in the long term, I think, have very bad consequences for the United States. I would support strongly a force of about 100,000 with about 10,000 Americans composed of Sunni nations to go in on the ground in Raqqa and take them out. We're either going to kill them there, or we're going to kill them in the United States of America and Europe. It is not more complicated than that, but we'd have to go in on the ground and liberate it. Bombing would not be the answer. Now, sophisticated drone strikes, etc., would be the efficient use of air power would be part of this. But you'd have to go in on the ground, and the majority of those forces would be Sunni Arab, not U.S. troops, although we would provide some of the vital elements of success. But as long as they have that base, and they will be able to export, especially through this flow of refugees, further attacks on Europe and the United States of America. And Mr. Morrell, the former deputy head of the CIA, just in the last couple of days said, and I agree with him, they're winning. They're metastasizing in places like Libya and Africa and other places. They're not losing.
So to the other point, let's say you kill them in Raqqa. Let's say you get your wish and there's a force of 100,000 and it's very effective on the ground. What do you do about those living in Brussels?
Well, that's where you stop where the attacks originate. You cut off the head, and with that, then the rest of the body dies. And the head of it is based in Raqqa, Syria, where they are planning, training, and orchestrating these attacks. And you have to go after the head of the snake, and then the rest of it will fall. And then, of course, you'll still have radical Islamic elements in the world, and we have a long struggle with that. But as long as they have a geographic base for a terrorist organization where they can plan, train, equip, and by the way, also develop chemical weapons as they are now, according to news reports, then they will continue those attacks, and those attacks will reach the United States of America.
Decorated combat veteran, former POW, and a veteran Republican senator from Arizona, John McCain, good to have you on. Thank you, sir, very much.
Thank you.